All right, so for today's deep dive, we are tackling a huge topic, the ethics of artificial intelligence. And this isn't, some far-off theoretical discussion anymore. AI is here, and it's making decisions that affect our lives right now.
Absolutely. We're talking about things like who gets approved for a bank loan, whose resume gets seen by a recruiter, real-world consequences. And the reason this conversation is so urgent is because of AI's unique superpowers: speed and scale.
Speed and scale.
Yeah. A single human making a biased decision affects, well, one person. A flawed algorithm can inject that same bias across millions of decisions in an instant.
Wow. Okay, so let's dig into the source material. Our mission today is to really unpack the three big ethical challenges we have to get right. Let's start with challenge number one, which is probably the one people have heard the most about: bias and fairness. It's a data problem.
It's fundamentally a data problem.
Yeah.
Exactly. And AI learns from the history we feed it. And if that history is full of human discrimination,
Then the AI just learns to discriminate too.
it learns that discrimination is an efficient way to get to the correct outcome based on the past. Think about a job screening AI. If it's trained only on data from past successful employees, and those employees were historically, say, mostly men.
Then it learns that being male is a key ingredient for success.
Precisely. The system isn't malicious. It's just mathematically optimizing for the patterns it was shown. It starts to automatically undervalue perfectly qualified female applicants. It basically reinforces the old boys club, but with code.
So the solution has to be more than just, running a check for bias after the fact. The damage is already done by then.
We need continuous audits, sure. But more importantly, we need to be incredibly careful about filtering the data before it ever goes in. And that leads us straight into our second challenge: control.
The control problem, which is all about privacy and surveillance. I mean, we've all welcomed these smart devices into our homes: smart speakers, video doorbells, you name it. But where is the line between a helpful assistant and a full-time spy?
That's the question, isn't it? Take a smart speaker. You know it listens for the trigger word.
Right.
But the more detailed surveillance comes from analyzing everything else: the ambient sounds, the patterns in your voice. For instance, it could analyze the pitch and speed of your speech to figure out your mood. It might even be able to tell what kind of snacks you're eating from the sound of the wrappers and then sell that insight to food companies.
That is unsettling. So it's not even about the content of what I'm saying, it's the metadata about my existence.
Exactly. And this is fundamentally an issue of trust. Users, all of us, we need to demand total transparency. We need to know what's being collected and have an easy way to limit it or just delete it all.
Okay, so that brings us to the third and maybe the most complex challenge: accountability. The big who's to blame question. If an autonomous vehicle causes an accident or an AI medical tool gives a faulty diagnosis, who is responsible?
And this is where we hit what technologists call the black box problem.
It's not black box.
Modern deep learning models are so complex, with millions or even billions of parameters, that sometimes even the engineers who built them can't explain the exact why behind a specific decision.
Wait, really? Even the original programmers?
Often, yes. They can see the data that went in and the decision that came out, but the reasoning process inside is, well, it's a black box. Opaque.
But isn't that the whole point of AI?
Mm.
That it's supposed to be faster and see patterns that humans can't? If we force it to explain itself, doesn't that defeat the purpose?
That's the tension. We need the capability, but we can't afford zero accountability, not in high-stakes situations like medicine or law. The solution being developed is called explainable AI, or XAI. We need to design these systems so they can articulate their reasoning, so they can say, I flagged this for review because I weighted these specific data points most heavily.
So it gives you a trail.
It gives you a trail. Then you can figure out where the responsibility lies. Was it bad data, a flawed model, or a human who used the tool incorrectly? So when you boil it all down, you have these three core pillars: tackling bias in data, demanding control over privacy, and building an accountability through transparency.
And what's clear is that AI ethics isn't just a job for a handful of people in Silicon Valley. Every time you use a new app or buy a smart device, you're part of the system. We as users have the collective power to demand that these products be fair and transparent from the ground up. So the final thought we want to leave you with is this: are you actively designing the rules for how AI interacts with your life, or are you passively letting the technology design you? Something to think about.